The hidden power of staying silent about your success in Stoic Men Tribe today. We're tapping into a powerful truth, a moment of inner strength. Sharp clarity and timeless wisdom. Don't skip any part of this video. Share your thoughts in the comment. Please do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button, like, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's break it down. In today's hyper-connected world, silence is often mistaken for absence. We live in a time where visibility is equated with value, where the louder you are, the more successful you must be. Social media glorifies constant updates, endless sharing, digital declarations of making it. We're conditioned to believe that if it's not posted, it didn't happen, that every step forward must be captured, captioned, and consumed. You're expected to turn your journey into a highlight reel, where likes become currency and applause becomes a measure of worth. But real growth doesn't happen in public, it happens in private. In the early mornings no one sees, in the hours of doubt where you kept going, in the silence where you redefined yourself without a witness. Because success, true success, isn't loud. It's not always glamorous or photogenic. It's often quiet, unseen, internal, a slow burn, not a spark. The obsession with visibility creates a dangerous illusion that being seen is more important than being real. But what you build in silence is often more stable, more sacred, more lasting. You don't owe anyone a preview of your becoming. You don't have to explain your evolution while it's still unfolding. Not everyone is meant to understand the path you're carving, especially when you're still paving it with your own bare hands. And there's power in that silence. There's strength in restraint. There's wisdom in letting your work, not your words, do the speaking. Because the truth is this: when you stop performing for approval, you start growing for yourself. Let others seek validation. You seek mastery. Let them announce. You advance. In time, your silence will echo louder than their noise. As Lao Tzu once wrote, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Let your life be the proof, not your posts. What if we've misunderstood power all along? What if strength isn't found in how loudly you broadcast your goals, but in how quietly you chase them? What if the real power isn't in the performance, not in the curated captions or constant updates, but in the discipline it takes to move in silence, to grow roots before showing leaves, to build something remarkable without announcing the blueprint? Because there's a quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to be explained, a deeper strength that doesn't seek permission or applause. It doesn't rush to be seen. It doesn't scramble for validation. It just works. In the shadows, in the stillness, in the unseen hours most people will never understand. You see, silence is not emptiness. It is presence without performance. It is energy conserved, focus undivided, purpose protected. To keep your vision private isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You're not hiding out of fear. You're preserving your momentum. You're sheltering your dream while it's still tender, still fragile, still forming its shape. When you choose silence, you choose sovereignty. You free yourself from the exhausting need to explain, defend, or impress. You stop leaking energy through unnecessary conversations. You stop inviting premature judgment or distraction. You stay rooted in your own lane, and the world may wonder what you're up to. They may assume you've fallen off, slowed down, disappeared. Let them. Because when your work is finally ready, when it's whole, when it's unshakable, when it no longer needs defense because it stands on its own, then and only then will they see. They won't see the nights you sacrificed. They won't feel the inner storms you weathered. They won't know how often you wanted to quit but didn't. They'll only see the result, the rise, the calm force that seems to have come from nowhere. But you'll know where it came from, the silence, the stillness, the sacred space you protected so you could become. So keep building, keep becoming, keep rising, quietly. Because when your foundation is solid, when your power is built in solitude, you don't have to prove anything. Your presence will speak long before your words ever do. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Let your life speak. Let your silence build the kind of strength that doesn't just impress, it endures. Because silence is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the quiet, deliberate choice of those who no longer seek permission to rise. It is not born from fear, it's born from focus. It's not a lack of confidence, it's the overflow of it. It's the kind of self-governance that says, I don't need you to see what I'm building in order to believe in it. In a world addicted to external validation, silence is rebellion. It's self-possession. It's the decision to stop scattering your energy into conversations that dilute your vision, to stop giving the world early access to something sacred, to build your foundation without interference, without noise, without asking for applause. Because every time you announce your progress too soon, you invite 1,000 projections, opinions, doubts, expectations, comparisons, and suddenly, what was yours becomes theirs. What was clear becomes cloudy. What was internal becomes performance. But when you hold your success close, when you nurture your momentum in solitude, you protect it from contamination. You stay focused, you stay intentional. You let the work shape you before the world can. There's a rare kind of power in this. The kind that can't be faked or performed. The kind that doesn't need to prove itself through metrics or noise. It shows itself only when it's undeniable. And the best part? While the world is busy performing success, you're embodying it. Not chasing impressions, living in alignment. Not feeding the algorithm, feeding your soul. Silence then becomes a strategy, a sanctuary, a form of spiritual discipline. You don't stop because no one's clapping. You keep going because your purpose is real. You don't need to be seen every step of the way. You need to be present. Because real success isn't loud, it's solid. It doesn't scream. It radiates. Let the world speculate. Let them wonder. Let your silence grow thick with truth. The kind of truth that reveals itself not in words, but in outcomes. And when you finally do speak, let it be through the power of your results. Let it be through the energy you've become. Let it be through your peace, your poise, your presence. As Lao Tzu once said, he who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Stay quiet. Stay focused. Let your greatness be the loudest thing about you. And even then, let it whisper. Because here's the truth. When you speak too soon, when you start revealing your progress before it's rooted, you expose it to winds it may not be ready to withstand. You invite eyes that don't understand your vision. You welcome voices that don't carry your values. And whether you realize it or not, you begin to absorb the noise. It starts subtly. Someone raises an eyebrow. Another offers a well-meaning critique. A friend questions your direction. A stranger mocks what they cannot comprehend. And suddenly, the thing that once came from within you, raw, powerful, true, begins to twist. You find yourself tweaking your path, not because it's right, but because it's safer. Because it earns nods instead of raised eyebrows. Because it soothes their discomfort instead of standing firm in your fire. You shift your message to be more palatable. You soften your tone to be more accepted. You shrink your vision so it doesn't threaten. And just like that, you've traded authenticity for applause, originality for acceptance, purpose for permission. The danger in speaking too soon is not just being misunderstood. It's being misdirected. It's letting the world edit a story that was never theirs to write. Your early ideas are like seedlings, vulnerable, delicate, full of potential. And just like you wouldn't rip a sprout from the soil to prove it's growing, you must protect your beginnings. You must give them time to take root in silence, to grow in the dark, to stretch without spectators, to become strong enough to stand without needing support. Because once your foundation is solid, once your clarity is unshakable, then no critique can distort you. Then no applause can distract you. Then no doubt can derail you. But that strength doesn't come from sharing too soon. It comes from building in solitude, from honoring your inner world before you hand it to the outer one, from creating out of truth, not trend, from trusting the process more than the praise. So let them wonder, let them guess, Let the silence guard what is sacred, because your power is not in being seen, it's in becoming. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stop explaining. Start embodying. Let your results, not your reactions, do the talking. But when you stay silent, you stay sovereign. You stay aligned with your own rhythm, not the rush of the world. You stay grounded in your purpose, not scattered by the noise of expectation. You remain rooted in the process, not distracted by the performance. Because silence is not about hiding. It's not about shrinking. It's about sanctity. It's about understanding that not everything sacred is meant to be shared. Not everything powerful is meant to be paraded. Some things, especially your growth, your healing, your victories, deserve the dignity of privacy. When you withhold your success, you're not withholding out of insecurity. You're preserving out of respect. You're giving your progress room to breathe, to mature without judgment, to expand without interference. Because you know, deep down, what it cost. You remember when no one clapped, when no one checked in, when your only applause was your own resilience echoing in empty rooms. You remember the nights of wrestling with doubt, of waking up early when no one noticed, of showing up to your craft when it felt like no one cared. And now, as your work begins to rise, as your life starts to reflect the labor you buried into it, you feel no need to rush it into the spotlight. Because you've learned, some blooms are too delicate to be dragged out of the soil too soon. Some visions are too precious to be diluted by premature praise. And some breakthroughs are too profound to be filtered through public opinion. You've grown to value the sacred over the sensational. You've learned to be devoted to your craft in silence, so that when you finally do speak, you speak with weight, with proof, with integrity that cannot be faked, because anything birthed from silence carries the weight of self-trust. Anything protected in quiet rises with unshakable roots. As Lao Tzu once said, "He who knows does not speak, he who speaks does not know." So let your silence be your strength. Let your silence be your sanctuary. And when your success finally makes noise, let it roar from a place of wholeness, not a need to be seen, but a need to serve. So you don't rush to reveal them. You don't parade them prematurely for likes or claps or fleeting recognition. You don't lift them out of the soil before their time. You protect them. You shield your progress like a seed beneath the earth, where roots are free to stretch and strengthen, where growth is unseen but essential. Because you know, real power doesn't need an audience. Real transformation happens in the quiet. Real breakthroughs are fragile in their infancy. You let your dreams mature away from the noise, from the projections, from the hands of those who want to shape them before they're fully formed. You let them deepen, underground, in solitude, in silence. Like ancient trees that grow downward before they ever reach toward the sun, you focus on becoming immovable. And in doing so, you free yourself. You're not waiting for applause. You're not hungry for validation. You're not performing. You're preparing. Because when the moment arrives, when what you've built is no longer a vision but a living, breathing truth, you won't need to explain it. You won't need to convince anyone. The results will speak in a language louder than words. They'll see it in your presence. They'll feel it in your energy. They'll notice it in how unshaken you are by doubt or noise. Because your growth wasn't built on approval. It was built on intention, on inner work, on discipline when no one was watching. As the philosopher Balthasar Gracian once said, "The wise man does not expose his root, for he knows it must first be deep before it reaches the surface. So let the world wonder. Let them guess. Let them talk." You don't owe the world your progress report, only your finished product. And when it's ready, they won't need your explanation. They'll know. Because real success doesn't demand attention. It commands respect. And the loudest triumphs are often born in the silence no one ever sees. And here's what most people never pause long enough to realize. The urge to constantly announce, to display, to prove. It doesn't come from confidence. It comes from fear. A subtle, gnawing fear that whispers, if they don't see me rising, will they think I'm falling? If I don't show them now, will they forget me? If I'm not visible, am I even relevant? It's the fear of being overlooked, of being unseen, of being passed by in a world that moves fast and only seems to celebrate what's loud, shiny, and constant. But true success, deep, durable, unshakable success, doesn't flinch. It doesn't panic in silence. It doesn't grasp for attention like a child needing applause. It moves differently. It walks quietly with intention. It speaks only when the message is complete. It doesn't seek confirmation from the outside world because it's grounded in something stronger: self-awareness, direction, and discipline. The people who truly arrive, the ones who become great at their craft, who build something lasting, they aren't the ones shouting about every step they take. They're the ones too busy working, too focused on becoming, to be bothered by performance. Because here's the secret: you don't need to narrate your evolution. You don't need to pre-sell your transformation. You don't need to beg others to believe in what you're building. Your growth doesn't need validation. It needs consistency. It needs protection. It needs space. So hold your silence like a sword. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it deepen your roots. Let it become the stillness where your true power is refined. You don't have to convince the world that you're becoming something. Just become it. Let the work show it. Let your presence radiate it. Let the outcome prove it. As Lao Tzu wisely said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." So don't announce your greatness. Live it. Let the silence carry the weight of your becoming. And when you arrive, you won't need to say a word. The world will recognize the strength of someone who didn't rush to be seen because they were too busy becoming undeniable. Let them believe you've gone silent. Let them draw their conclusions. That you've slowed down, that you've given up, that you've faded into the background of your own story. Let them think you've stopped moving just because you stopped broadcasting. Let them look right past you because you're not making noise, because you're not chasing attention, because you've chosen the shadows over the spotlight. Good, let them forget. Let them underestimate, because while the world is distracted by noise, you're cultivating depth. You're refining your craft. You're healing where no one is watching. You're rebuilding yourself in silence with no audience. Just focus, patience, and raw will. What they mistake for absence is actually incubation, a season of becoming, of shedding what no longer fits, of sharpening the edges they never saw coming. Because power doesn't always grow in public. Real transformation often happens in solitude, when there's no one to impress, no claps to chase, no mirror but your own soul. And when you rise, when the foundation is set, when the voice is steady, when the armor is earned, you won't return as who you were. You'll emerge as who you were meant to be. Not a whisper, not a flicker, but a force, a reckoning, a quiet earthquake that reshapes the ground beneath you. No announcements, no warnings, just presence, because you've grown in the dark. And now the light won't blind you, it will reveal you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." So stop defending your silence. Stop explaining your absence. Stop debating your worth. Be the person, do the work, let the outcome speak. Because those who rise from the shadows don't need to shout. Their very existence says everything. In that same spirit of inner strength and quiet confidence, let go of the exhausting urge to prove yourself. Stop chasing the spotlight. Stop performing for validation. Stop curating your journey to make it look impressive before it's even complete. You don't need to argue that you're becoming successful. You don't need to convince people of your growth, your value, or your potential. You simply need to embody it, because real success isn't a performance. It's a transformation. And the people who are truly building something meaningful don't have time to shout about it. They're too busy doing the work, too focused on refining their craft, too invested in becoming the kind of person who doesn't just speak about greatness, but lives it in every breath, every step, every decision. When your life is aligned, when your discipline is consistent, when your heart is clean and your mission is real, You don't need to say much. Your actions become the announcement. Your consistency becomes the campaign. Your results become the roar. Because greatness, when it's real, doesn't need to be broadcast. It's felt, it's sensed, it's undeniable. And here's the paradox. The quieter you become, the more powerful your presence grows. The less you seek recognition, the more you command respect. Because the world recognizes depth, even in silence, especially in silence. So let go of the need to be seen. Let go of the impulse to prove. Build in the shadows. Refine in the quiet. Stand tall in your stillness. Let your life, not your lips, tell the story. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste what's left of your life in guessing at others' thoughts, unless with good reason. It's a preoccupation that wastes time and drains energy, so waste no more time trying to manage perceptions. Reclaim that energy. Reinvest it into something lasting. Your discipline, your integrity, your craft. Mastery doesn't come from noise, it comes from devotion. And that journey, more often than not, begins in silence and ends in a legacy that speaks for itself."